It has been a slow start for the Guardians' top of the rotation in 2025. Apparently, all they had to do was face the New York Yankees. Gavin Williams on Monday, Tanner Bibee on Tuesday. They turn it around against the New York Yankees, and they're going for a sweep on Wednesday.
Tanner Bibee of the Guardians, and you're listening to Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Is your favorite American League team in first place? Do they have the best record? If so, this is the podcast for you. This is Locked On Guardians. Guardians, a 3-2 winner over the New York Yankees on Tuesday, going for the sweep today. Thank you for tuning in today to Locked On Guardians and making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day. Wherever you get podcasts, we do this 5 days a week. We are here with you, win or lose. We are certainly here with you when we go for sweeps of the Yankees, covering the Guardians from the major league level to the minors and the draft. And I am Justin Latta. I have been watching Cleveland Guardians baseball my entire life, and I have been writing about the Guardians minor league system since 2007 at the News Herald, the Morning Journal, Next Year in Cleveland.substack.com, where you can get all my minor league analysis. And I'm here with you 5 days a week with my friend and co-host, Jeff Ellis.
And that is me. My name is, as he said, Jeff Ellis. You know, I started also in 2007 writing about baseball, started at Indians Prospect Insider, moved over to Scout and 24/7 doing a national feature job, writing newsletters and articles about prospects in the draft. Before Scout, no, I did it again this week. No, I'm not at Scout. Before Locked On asked me as one of their first 5 to 10 hires to come on here and talk about baseball. I do want to give one quick shout out to, hey, Marco, friend from high school, reached out to me and said he's a big fan of the show. So it's always kind of weird and fun when we have those moments.
Yeah, Adam at the Guardians game. I was at the game Tuesday. Adam, I was in line and said, "Are you Justin?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I love the show, everydayer." So shout out to Adam, everydayer. Shout out to all the everydayers who are here, and shout out to you if you're here for the first time, even because you're enjoying a series win over the Yankees for the first time since 2019 and going for a sweep. I don't know when the Guardians' last sweep of the Yankees was. I got to be honest. I really don't care. They won the series with a chance to go for a sweep. And the best part of winning the series to me is two things. What we're going to talk about today on today's show is obviously the starting pitching, Tanner Bibee, and how he was able to overcome the first pitch of the game being a home run. We'll get into the Guardians offense and doing the GuardsBall thing in the second segment after a night after hitting the home runs. And in the third segment, we have to get into Will Wilson getting the call because we've had a lot of comments about Will Wilson the last couple of days, and he is now up. We were going to talk about him on Friday. That'll now happen today as we get into it. But, Jeff, the best part about winning this series, to me, your starting pitching, your big two, Gavin Williams and Tanner Bibee, getting it together. They both had to battle adversity in the first inning. I think Tanner had to battle a little more adversity than Gavin did, but that first pitch home run, and then he gave a single to Aaron Judge, and then Tanner locked down after that. He was good pretty much throughout. I know he had some walks. They put some balls in play. They fouled a lot of balls off. He ran up a high pitch count. He had 70 pitches in the fourth inning, and he still managed to give them 6 innings. And I was sitting there watching, and I was like, 6th inning, like he got Aaron Judge was the first batter up in the 6th inning. He got through 5 with 1 run. He was at like 90 pitches, and I was like, all right, probably did the job. But the Guardians were light in the bullpen once again. It was a planned off day for Emmanuel Clase. They said they didn't even really want to use Cade Smith if they didn't have to. So they were trying to give some guys in the bullpen a day off. So Tanner goes out there, gets 6, and I know Tanner really appreciated the fact that he was able to stay out there and finish the 6th inning, even after the leadoff double to Judge and the sac fly. He got through it. That was really important because you're able to piece it together with Herron, Gaddis, and Smith. Great time for Tanner Bibee to get things turned around. Great time for the starting pitching to get its footing finally. I love it. You don't think it's going to happen against the Yankees, but you want to know what? That's baseball sometimes. Sometimes you just can't predict when you're going to figure things out or when things are going to click for you. And it's really encouraging to see the starting pitching click a little bit here. And Jeff doesn't really have anything to say because he muted himself. So he must not really care about Tanner Bibee's out.
I got to say, I learned a very important lesson and valuable lesson today, which is, when things were going sideways in the first inning, Justin got very frustrated. And I got to say, I think you're batting 1,000 this year for like having those moments where you're saying like, "Uh-oh, I'm worried about this guy," and then they go on to do spectacularness. So that has come up a few times. So Justin, can you just slowly go through the entire lineup, all 26 players, and talk about your concerns with them? Because right now it seems you have the opposite of a jinx effect. So
I have the reverse jinx going on.
You're
All
reverse jinxing. So I think, but in all seriousness, like it was a rough first. Like it's hard to, and I think even for someone like Tanner, who's a very emotional person, we've seen on the mound, like there has to be a feeling of like, oh great, here we go again. Coming into the game, he had the 10th worst WAR in all of baseball. Like it had been a rough start, and to go out there and have it go sideways immediately, but then to recover. And in my opinion, he dominated the rest of the way. He may not have had a lot of whiffs, but they weren't making good contact. They were struggling to find quality contact off of him until late. And they had to manufacture a run. Cleveland out-manufactured them today, but they had to manufacture a run when, they pushed Tanner and they've been pushing their starters more and more into games, having them try to push towards the 6th, try to push towards the 7th, trying to conserve that bullpen more this year seems to be a goal and a real important structure platform I think is what I'm going for, is do not overuse the bullpen like a year ago. It seems to be one of the things they're really basing the season on, so they're pushing guys more and more. So for Tanner to come out and with his struggles to be facing, the Yankees are still the Yankees, this is still a good team, to face that lineup, to have to face some of the players that he faced in that lineup, Jazz Chisholm and Aaron Judge are top 10 in home runs. Like it's still a strong lineup, and to get knocked sideways, get up, and then just plow through. You and I were both nervous in that last inning, and he proved us wrong. And I think that is really important. One of our commenters commented about how he was worried about this series because the Yankees are getting the weak part of our rotation, and I had to be like, oh, I see what you did there, because these two had struggled so much. How much time have we spent talking about Williams and Bibee's struggle? And if these two are turning it around, there's a reason why, you hinted at it. For those who don't know, the Cleveland Guardians have the best record in the American League right now. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say the exact words for anyone who didn't get the hint. And you're there because, the other three arms have been great. And now your two guys who you're hoping would be aces were aces against the team that knocked them out of the ALCS.
And what did we say last week? We said the Guardians are finding ways to win. Even against the Orioles, I know they didn't win the series, but they played well. The offense just didn't come through, and they found ways to win in Pittsburgh. And we said they're finding ways to win and stay competitive early on. They're not clicking on all cylinders, and if things start to get turned around in terms of a little bit better luck offensively, you don't even have Gavin and Tanner rolling at all, and they were still hanging around. And we said better things to come for this team, because if those guys figure it out, and we were pretty confident Tanner would figure it out. Gavin, a little bit less so, just because like the spring training hype was big and the stuff is
doesn't
there,
have the history.
It doesn't have the track record that Tanner does. So we were confident Tanner would figure it out. No, by the way, Clase still hasn't figured it out yet either. So I'm confident that they'll get Clase on the right foot at some point too, which means things should only get better for this team. And Tanner Bibee is proof of that. And I thought it was great for Tanner to go back to what makes him really good. He was in the zone a lot too. I know he threw a lot of pitches, but I think he threw his fastball, I want to say like 74% for strikes today. We were talking, I think we probably talked about this off air, not on air, shame on us. But I want to say Tanner's fastball zone rating in terms of throwing strikes was below 50%. It was pretty bad. Yeah, and he was in the zone 74% of the time with his fastball in this game. It was the four seam. He dialed back the use of the sinker a little bit. We saw more of the cutter, more of the sweeper. He got his changeups down a little more instead of them being up. Reintroduced the curveball a little bit in this game too. It really didn't do much for him because he didn't throw for strikes or get any whiffs. But it's at least a shape changer and at least an eye level changer that curveball can be for him. So I thought Tanner really had to return to what he does best, and it was a lot more, I think, feel based. It was, how do I feel in the start? What's working well for me? Let's go with that, or let's make an adjustment. And I think he also piggybacked well off of what Gavin did a night ago too. Is the Yankees can get beat upstairs with those four-seam fastballs and spin and off-speed low. That's what he did. He threw a lot of fastballs in this game. The four-seam was really good for him. He got a lot of called strikes and a lot of foul balls, and they did run his pitch count up, but he persevered. And I think that just gives you a lot of confidence. And like I said, I know he appreciated Stephen Vogt sticking with him in the 6th inning, letting him finish that. That has something that can have a really positive effect on Tanner going forward, I think, in this game. And not only that, but I think it's also important for him to be able to just kind of carry that confidence from this start and also know that he can do it and use that going forward.
No, I agree. There's not too much more for me to add. It's really important to get him rolling, and this is the first step in that process.
Yeah, getting that vote of confidence from Vogt, as it were. All right, got to talk about the Guardians' offense. They only had 1 inning in this one, and I wouldn't even call it a big inning. It was a small inning. It was GuardsBall inning. We'll talk about that in the next segment, and we'll also get into Will Wilson getting the call for the Cleveland Guardians as Lane Thomas goes on the injured list. How they handled that, we'll get into coming up here on Locked On Guardians. Get the supplies that you need from the site that is made for the skilled trades, Supply House. If you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. They have an easy-to-use website that's packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. And they have a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands. So you're going to find exactly what you need. It's going to get delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House has expert support and industry-leading service. You'll always talk to a real person. We know how important it is when you're trying to order things, just trying to get things finished for your business or even at home. You want to be able to place those orders and ask questions to real people. And if you're a trade pro and you are looking for that extra edge, they have the free Trade Master program that offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line for your business, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it is your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, if you use promo code SH5 for 5% off your order, your first order, that is supplyhouse.com. Thanks for tuning in to hopefully a preview of a sweep of the Yankees on today's Locked On Guardians. Make sure that you hit the bell on YouTube to never miss a video. I had my reaction video from Tuesday night's game. Jeff had one the other day from Zach Kent being called up and Tristan McKenzie being DFA'd. We didn't do one on Will Wilson today, but, we might still do it. Who knows? And if you're on audio, make sure you are downloading automatically on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, Podcast Addict, all those fun places. Hit the auto download. Help us out. Never miss an episode. And consider being an insider. Texted the insiders throughout tonight's game. We talked about the recall of Will Wilson on there. We talked about Kate Smith warming up and Clase, all that fun stuff. So you can get in on the action, plus some bonus content from Jeff and I, whether it's a podcast or some draft research or some prospect research. Or sometimes we do monthly video chats with our subscribers as well. Join subtext.com/LockedOnGuardians to get in on the insider program. We'd love to have you. The Guardians love to have GuardsBall. Jeff, the other thing I really liked about this game and this win was that, and I know what you're going to say. I know people are going to say, well, they got lucky, and they did. There's no doubt there's some luck involved here, but
a lot
of it.
That's a lot.
But I do like that the Guardians at least have the pieces in place. I know it's not the sexiest and most popular way to win a game, but I think being able to win a game in multiple ways is important for this offense and for anybody in baseball, because Monday night they were able to slug with the Yankees, right? You were able to hit the home runs and score 6, thanks to 2 home runs from Jose and Manzardo. You didn't get any home runs in this game. The Yankees got 1. And it's not every night you're going to be able to slug with the Yankees. Like, the Guardians are a top 10 team in home runs right now. That's great. That's a huge improvement over the last 3 seasons or 2 seasons, right? The Yankees are number 1. I know they hit a lot at home. There's a little bit of disparity there. Torpedo bats, not really a big thing, but people made it a big thing. Whatever. You're not going to slug with the Yankees every night. Certainly not 3 nights in a row. Certainly not in a 7-game series, right? So for the Guardians to win and be successful, they have to have the ability to win in multiple ways. So Monday, they did beat the Yankees by slugging with them. In this game, they used their contact and speed in this one. So I know, again, there's an element of luck involved here. I'm not going to shy away from that. But they also deserve to have the ball bounce their way a little bit, don't they? Because how much have we talked about how incredibly unlucky their BABIP is, like unsustainably low, and was not going to continue. It was going to regress positively, and it did. So they deserved a little bit of positive regression, and they were able to use some of the elements of their offense that make them good, which is starting the runners, using speed, contact, being aggressive, all those things. So it's nice to have those things available to you when you're not just able to hit home runs, because this is not a team that's a slugging team. They hit home runs sometimes, but
Are they? I mean, aren't they top 10 in home runs still?
they are top 10 in home runs. So when you could be a top 10 home run team and also put guys in motion and score and put the ball in play the ways they did on Tuesday, it's nice to be able to have both elements, don't you think?
I mean,
I'd
yes, but at the
rather
same
be lucky
time,
than good. I'd rather be
no.
lucky than
At
good.
the same time, let's be real honest. Like, this wasn't the BABIP gods working in their favor. It was, a pass ball. But they were smart with it. They already had the runners going, and maybe that extra pressure, and it worked in their favor. And then Volpe, who's a really good defender, has a bad hop and rushes a throw and isn't able to get that. So it wasn't that the balls were necessarily falling in. Maybe they put extra pressure on the other team. And I don't want this to feel like I'm denigrating or saying Cleveland shouldn't have won. Those things happen. Like, how many games have we seen the reverse this season where Rocchio, he had another error, 6th of the year already, like Rocchio's 6th error, or when Jose made the play to the right and lost the ball. Like, how many times have we talked about Rocchio and Ramirez and those things leading to big innings? It for once we got to see the opposite. So I guess there is a degree of imbalancing maybe, but at the end of the day, they had to execute, and it wasn't just the bad plays. It was Manzardo with the big double, again showing up. It's Nolan Jones, who's, man, the number of people. Nolan Jones is turning into the new. Now that Gabby Arias has played too well for people to like whip at him, it's our most negative player in our comments is Nolan Jones, and he works a lot of counts, and he came up with the hit and ended up scoring the tying run in this one. So you're putting together a team that is going to, like I said, they kind of modeled this team after the Yankees last year. It's a lot more patient. They take a lot of pitches. They wear down staffs, and a lot of their scoring this is totally anecdotal. I don't have the research for this, but it feels like it's not necessarily early on, but it is like in the 5th and 6th inning. It's in that mushy middle where they've worn down the starter and they've not got to the best part of the other team's bullpen yet. So I feel like we're seeing their approach, which to me feels like a bit of copying what they faced at the Yankees, which is let's get to the mushy middle. Let's get in there and do their damage. And we spent most of this game with them having one hit, and then all of a sudden, boom, they take the lead.
And they didn't work a lot of walks. I think they only had 2 walks in this one. So it's not as if they were on base by walks. But yeah, a lot of long counts. I mean, Carlos Santana, it feels like every time is going to 4 or 5 pitches. Nolan Jones, the at bat where Nolan Jones struck out. I mean, he obviously had a hit and that inning where things got crazy and he scored the run. That's good. That's fantastic. The at bat he did strike out. He ended up seeing, I think, 6 pitches, and I don't think he swung at 1. And there's an element there that I don't necessarily love about that, but it's still a nice component in the middle in the order. We haven't really had a chance. We've been wanting to talk about the change in the order of Nolan Jones hitting 2nd and Jose hitting 3rd again. But news keeps happening. We've been planning to talk about that for 2 days, and news keeps happening between Tristan McKenzie and Zach Ken, and today Will Wilson. So we keep having to push that off. But I do like having that ability to really draw down the at bats and like you said, wear down the pitching staff to get to the mushy middle. Quan does that because he can foul off a lot of pitches and he's patient. Nolan Jones is passive to a fault, but he takes a lot of pitches and that can wear a staff down too. And then you got Jose Ramirez after that, and if Jose Ramirez is up with a guy before him who just had a 9-pitch at bat, that can usually benefit him. And Kyle Manzardo takes his share of walks too. Like he's been very patient too. And then you have Santana after that. So you got the first 5 guys in your order who can really have long at bats, and that's eventually going to pay off, whether it's that inning, later in the game, or even in the 2nd or 3rd game of the series when you've gotten to the middle part of the bullpen and a lot of guys are worn down. So it's more than just a in-game plan. It's a whole season strategy to win series. And Jeff, what do we keep saying? You just got to win series. They've already won this one. This is 2 in a row. You got Boston coming in this weekend. The Guardians should feel pretty good about themselves. Jeff doesn't feel good because he muted himself, so he does not feel good about the
Sorry,
Guardians.
I'm still trying to find that information when the Guardians swept the Yankees. According to Google AI, they last swept the Yankees in the 2024 ALDS, which we all know is not true. So,
okay, wow,
yeah, that for multiple reasons. No,
AI is not coming for anything for us. Yeah,
I've talked about before. Was it one of our new commenters? I want to say like Ashlyn. Sorry if I got the name wrong. Correct me. It's definitely an Ash beginning of the name, but they said that was one of their favorite comments. I said, you keep winning series, you're going to make the postseason. It's a guarantee. And, during the broadcast, they had a great point that this team is 7-1 in series game ones this year. The only one is the Padres. They've won every single game one. And that also sets you up for, this is the classic, analysis says score more runs and you'll win. But it's like, if you win game one, it's a lot easier to win the series when you've already got that out of the way. So again, for all the ups and downs, for all the knee-jerk reactions, for all the things that have gone sideways, baseball is a long year. We are game 23. I can do that super quick on here. We're at
second quarter of the second game.
We're not even 14% in. We're not even 15% of the season. We're at 14% of the season, but still, in spite of their struggles, in spite of the ups and downs, in spite of some guys underperforming, they've had a tough schedule. They've played more road games than any other team in baseball so far. They've had the least amount of home games. At least they did coming into this series, I should state. And they've got the best record in baseball. Yeah, they had the White Sox.
This is the first time you've had back-to-back games from your two top starting pitchers that have been good. And by the way, your all-world closer still has not figured it out yet. And he's going, I promise you, I believe. People used to say, I believe in Stephen Vogt. I believe Emmanuel Clase is going to figure it out. So all those things are just now starting to come around.
100%.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. Yeah, it was a planned second day off for Emmanuel Clase. Fantastic game from Cade Smith. It was nice to have a 4-pitch outing and get ahead, especially on a back-to-back day. Yeah,
he's not pitching tomorrow. We can say that. He's got the planned off day tomorrow.
Yeah, and we also didn't even mention Hunter Gaddis. I know he had a bit of a rocky inning there, but he came back and was a slider monster, got a bunch of strikeouts. That was a really huge inning for him. So nothing afoul with Emmanuel Clase, just a second planned day off because he worked 3 days in a row. Yeah. The Guardians had to make a decision on Lane Thomas. He goes to the injured list, and in his stead, they call up Will Wilson, a guy we've got a lot of comments about the last couple of days. An interesting player. We were planning to talk about Friday. The Guardians forced their hand, and we're going to talk about Will Wilson next on Locked On Guardians.
First, looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to keep you feeling fuller longer. I mentioned this last time. I don't have a product to show you. I went out and bought the product. I'll just have it hang out here so I can show you every episode, the Wonderful Pistachios. And then I ate the whole thing. And it's a delicious product. It was the chili lime. It was great. Before I knew it, it was gone. And the nice thing when you eat a snack like that, when you eat that chili lime, when you eat whatever flavor is yours, but again, go get chili lime. It's fantastic. It's more filling because that high protein snack is a more filling snack, fills you up the right way. If you go eat something with sugar, it's not going to fill you up. You're going to overeat. You're going to have too many calories. You eat the protein filled item, and that will fill you up with those wonderful proteins. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Hey, make sure you're checking out Locked On MLB Game Night for MLB analysis each night from our host, Lindsey Crosby, our friend over there. And you get reactions from our games, reactions from all the games across the Locked On Network and MLB. And you also have the MLB Squad Show that dropped in your feeds on Tuesday as well. It's not part of that one, but I will be going forward. Again, those are fun shows to be a part of, too. Talking about Clutch on Tuesday. A thing Jeff and I definitely believe in. I wish I was on that show on Tuesday because I totally believe in Clutch.
Yeah,
Will Wilson.
I like how they had some interesting debates. Go check it out. I am not a Yankees fan, but they had some ridiculous statements in that one about the Yankees.
It was quite the show. Yeah, go check it out if you have not. Will Wilson, the Guardians sure hope he will. Will Wilson is up in Lane Thomas's stead. I did see one of our listeners and one of our friends, Ed, was not very happy with how the Guardians handled Lane Thomas's injury situation. That was a little bit funky, I will say. I'm not really sure how to best describe whatever they did there, but he was out for 7 days and they replaced him on the injured list. He came back, got a couple at bats, and played a game and just did not look good. And then now he's on the
injured list. He must have realized it wasn't right. Sometimes you think it's right and it's not, and that happens.
Yeah, he was not good this season to start with anyway. And Angel Martinez has been hot. So, you can kind of afford to take some time there for Lane Thomas. We'll see what happens. It's a long season. As we said with the lineup, it's a long season. At some point, they're going to need Lane Thomas, so they need to get him healthy. And I think there's also it was handled very strangely because he has fractured that wrist before. So
yes,
you want to make sure that does get healthy. But Will Wilson is the guy who gets the call. I know some people were asking, why not Juan Brito? Well, 2 reasons. As we said on yesterday's show, Everydayers remember that we said that Juan Brito is dealing with a jammed right wrist. He is day-to-day. I didn't check whether or not he was in the lineup for Columbus on Tuesday night. I'm going to check real quick while we're talking. But so he's been dealing with a jammed wrist. He has not played since April 17th. The other factor in that is that Juan Brito did not play on Tuesday again, so he's been out almost 6 days now, 5 days now. But the other reason is Will Wilson is going to come up and fill a bench role because you have to move Angel Martinez to center field full time now with Lane Thomas out. You kind of need somebody else to cover you on the infield because you can move Sheeman to the outfield like they did on Tuesday. So you need somebody else on the bench who can play the infield and give you that backup. Will Wilson can do that. So even if Juan Brito was healthy, he wouldn't be coming up here anyway because they don't want to bring him up and sit him on the bench. I don't know how much Will Wilson's really going to play, but I will say this, Jeff. The exit velocity for him in the minors has been better this year. He is a little bit older.
A little bit?
And I think he's 25. So we've seen this before.
26, 27.
I don't think he's 27. I think he's 26.
He's going to be 27 in 3 months. He's been around for a long time.
So you want, you want to be careful about the age thing there, but he did add some exit velocity this year. He's hitting for a lot of power.
Everyone does in that park.
Well, if you look at his numbers, he's hitting both on the road and at home. It hasn't been the same issue for him. The contact rate isn't very good. If you look at the contact rate, it's not very good. So there's swing and miss in that profile, which is dangerous. But in terms of a bench roll and some power, I like this. And the other thing is too, the Guardians have done a great job in the minor league Rule 5 draft. Last year they had Connor Gillespie come up, and it wasn't spectacular, but he chewed some innings for them when they needed it. With this pitching staff being
they've only done it with pitchers. They haven't done it with hitters yet, right?
Yeah, and you had Eric Sabrowski last year who played a big role for them late in the season and is coming back this year. And now you got Will Wilson. So the Guardians are making efficient use of the Rule 5 draft. And one of our everydayers and our insiders, I think Jeff brought this up too to me, was that the coaching staff might remember there's a lot of guys from the Giants coaching staff on this Guardians staff. They might be familiar with him from their time with the Giants. I'm not saying anything big is going to happen, but that might help.
I don't think so. I got to be honest, because most of the coaches there were in the major league team, and Will Wilson never sniffed the majors before now. He's been bad.
That's true.
Like, I liked him out of college, and then the reports were once the Angels drafted him, that within a few months they had soured, and that's why they used him to get rid of Zach Cozart's contract. Like, he has always struggled to hit in the minors. He's never been good. Like, he's one of those guys that, like, I've never heard a team sour as quickly on a guy. There's just too much chase. The important word here with him is roster fodder. He is roster fodder. Like, let's be very honest. This gives why him and not Diane Frias, who's also hitting well and could play all those positions and probably play them better.
Because he's a great defender. Yeah. Will Wilson's not here for his glove. Yeah.
No. But so why don't you go with Diane Frias, who's clearly the better player because he would bring you more defensively? It's because you don't want to then have to cut Diane Frias. You're okay cutting Will Wilson. He's up because, there's probably a little uncertainty too with Rocchio's hand after what happened. And he gives you more infield depth. You're rewarding a guy, giving him, he's played great. So, maybe they found something. Some guys mature at different rates. He was drafted back in 2019 to give an idea. So good for him, but he is up because it's not going to hurt when they have to take him off the 40-man and replace him with someone else. And he gives them depth and they need depth. And I just have a hard time buying into it. I will say, if you want to look for other positives, he's not just beating up on younger players. He also has a good OPS versus older players so far this year. But again, if you just go and you look at that minor league career, he's been bad. Like, he's a bat first guy who can't hit his weight most seasons in the minors. So it's been a good few weeks in a very hitter friendly environment. Maybe they did find something. Maybe there's something that the Giants and the Angels couldn't find there. But as someone who does draft and prospect stuff through the years, it's been. I mean, I liked him in his draft year out of South Carolina, I want to say, but that's when he peaked, was back in 2019, North Carolina, NC State.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to get that one wrong. They would not like
Yeah.
that over there. All right,
No.
well, we'll see what happens with Will Wilson. The Guardians hope Wilson will.
Hopefully I'm
also
wrong.
in the
I would love
minors-
to be wrong in this. I know people say that
Yeah.
I've told you so, and that I would love to be wrong. Like, totally
I agree.
make me eat my words, Will Wilson. I would love to eat my words.
It'd be a great story. It would be, but yeah, he gets to make the major leagues, which is great for him, and he has some power, so maybe he delivers you some kind of pinch hit ability with pop. They didn't go to John Kenzie Noel on Tuesday for Nolan Jones. They went with Gabriel Arias, so need some pop off the bench. And also in AAA, by the way, Andrew Walters hits the injured list, so he's out for the next 7 days, maybe longer. I think that's continued shoulder issues from spring training. That's why also he was not up on Monday for Tristan McKenzie and Zach Kent was. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward. We'll be back with you tomorrow talking about the Guardians, hopefully sweeping the Yankees, and we'll finally talk about the lineup movement, I think, if there's no news coming in. But if there's any news coming in, we hope it's good, and we hope the news starts with a Guardians sweep over the Yankees. Let's see it happen.
We also got that additional Clase information throughout tomorrow that we've promised and we'll do a little bit of draft talk as well
Friday.
in segment 3, or for Friday. You're right. That's 2 days off.
That's
I'm just
Friday.
wishing it was Friday. I'm just wishing. It's been a long week for me already.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. Remember to rate and review, download daily. It helps. Tell a friend. Comment below with what was your favorite moment in the game, and go Guardians, go.